in this lesson, we'll learn how to edit the deformations of an enveloped mesh. As we saw in the previous lesson, the initial envelope is going to have to be edited so we get desirable deformations in the end. So let's go ahead and work with the Paint Weights tool, which is used to paint the adjustments that we need to make on our deformed arm, in this case, or deformed mesh. So what I like to do is just add a slight bend just to have an idea of what needs to be tweaked so we can see that change as we make the fix. From there, we'll want to select our mesh to paint on and head over to the Paint Weight panel. Alright, selecting that, again we have several options here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is switch this to ABS, absolute, so we can paint an absolute amount based off of what our opacity is set to. So for the opacity, I'm going to actually set this to 80%. Okay, so what that means is that if we were to paint from the upper arm, for example, whatever we paint is going to be affected 80% by this arm bone. This is a way of still getting some nice subtle deformations elsewhere, but the main deformations will happen from whatever bone we choose. Alright, so now that that's been set, we'll want to go ahead and enter weight mode pressing the W key on our keyboard. Great, so now we'll notice that our mesh has been highlighted, again with the color scheme of the bones that are affecting the mesh. But let's say we go ahead and start to really edit this. We can use the middle mouse button to increase our brush size if we need to, or decrease it. And then the left mouse button to paint these areas in to make the changes we need to make. We can press Ctrl Z to undo any changes we may not like, but notice as we paint, now we're starting to really affect these areas and improve the deformations that we're getting. Alright, so I've just edited the upper arm. Let's go ahead and take care of the lower arm. So to do so, we can always select the bone from the list. It's called Bone 1. Choosing that, I'll now go in and start to paint a few points in the lower part of the arm to fix those deformations, and notice how much better that looks, and it really took hardly any time to get these better looking results. So I'll go ahead and hit the space bar to exit the weight mode. We can go ahead and go back to our animate toolbar. We switch that, and then we can select our root wrist object and start to move our arm around, and notice the deformations look far more accurate than they did before. So again, we've learned in this lesson how to edit the deformations of a skin mesh, and there are other ways of doing this, but the Paint Weights tool is no doubt going to be the most preferred way of getting the deformations that you want.